Well, Joy, in this video we're going to use Solid Edge to figure out how much fluid is in a tank. So we have here a tank used for storing kerosene, and it's been solid modelled, and at the moment it's actually a complete solid block. It's not hollow. So if we go to maybe choose the front plane, and if I just go to PMI section by plane, you can see it's just one big solid block. And that's okay for now. And what I'm going to do now with this part is I'm just going to create an assembly from it. So I'm going to go up here and choose New Assembly of Active Model. We're going to use the isometric assembly. Click OK, and I'm going to save changes to the document, to the part document. And there we go. So we have our part inserted into the assembly. I'm going to click on this part and choose Copy. I'm just going to create a second copy of that part. Both of those parts are grounded within the assembly. I'm just going to quickly fix that. So I'm just going to remove those ground relationships. So we've deleted those. So I'm just going to right click and go to Show Hide Component and choose Coordinate Systems. Click OK. And we'll do the same again for this other part. Show Hide Component, Coordinate Systems, and click OK. And we have the base coordinate system here. So I'm just going to hide the base coordinate system, and I'm going to choose the Match Coordinate Systems command, choose the coordinate system of this tank, click on the base coordinate system of the assembly, and I'm going to do the same again. So I'm going to choose the coordinate system of this tank and the base coordinate system of the assembly. So now we both tanks occupying the same space, the same volume. They're exactly, it just looks like we have one tank there. And both of those parts are fully constrained within the assembly. So we can see up here both parts are fully constrained. That kind of looked a little bit pointless, but let's take a look now at our Pathfinder. We have two parts with the exact same part number. And I'm actually going to right click on one of those parts, and I'm going to go to More, and I'm going to choose Replace Part with Copy. And I'm going to click Accept. Just give it a new name. Okay, so now we have two different parts, 7000B and 7001A. And both of those parts are still identical. Okay, so we're just going to save this assembly. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the first part created. I'm just going to, maybe I'll just choose Edit. We'll edit that in place. And now that we're in that part, I'm going to go to Home. So I'm going to choose the thin wall command. For the common thickness, first of all, we have the offset type. We can offset outside, symmetrical, or inside. So I'm going to choose offset inside. I'm going to choose a common thickness of 4mm. And then for open faces, I'm going to choose single. Click on the top face of this part, tick this box, hit preview. And you can see now Solid Edge has kind of hollowed out our part for us. So I'm just going to click finish and close that part. So now we have two parts. We have this one here, which is our tank, which is 4mm thick. We have this one here, 7001A, which is just a solid block that has the outside of our tank. And I'm going to actually maybe edit this solid block now. So I'm going to click on it, choose Edit. And now that we're inside, we're editing this 7001_A, our second part, that's a solid block. We're editing that in place in the assembly. I'm able to go up here, I go to Home, and I'm going to choose Interpart Copy, and I'm going to click on the other part, which is the outer part of the hollow tank, and I'm going to select the body. So I click on the body, tick on this box, and click Finish, and Cancel. Alright, so it can get a little bit confusing here because we're editing within the assembly. So I'm just going to hit Save, close that part. So instead of editing within the assembly, now I'm just going to open that part on its own. So now we're within the part environment of part 7001A, and we still have our design body, which is that solid block, and we can see that by using our section by plane. It's a big solid block. And we have our second body, which is a construction body, and that's the shell of the tank. And what we want to do now is we want to subtract the volume of the tank from the volume from the solid block we have. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and look at this our body operations, our Boolean operations up here, and I'm going to choose subtract. And our prompt bar is saying select the target bodies for the Boolean. So the target body is kind of a little bit hard to see because everything's kind of showing the same kind of edges because they're kind of have a lot of common geometry. So I'm going to go over here instead, and we know design body 7 is our solid body. So I click on that and tick on this box. And our tool body is going to be this solid body here, this construction body. And I can just click on that in here because it's the only thing left to select. So I can tick on that and click finish and click cancel. Okay, so I'm just going to hit save there. So now we've filled up our shell of our tank, and then we've just taken away the outer skin. I suppose if we wanted to check about that, I could just maybe click on this subtract and maybe suppress it. So before we apply that subtract, I can go here and choose inspect properties, and we can click update. Okay, so I'm just going to give this part material. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go to the material table and choose water. All right, and now we can go to properties and we can click update, and it tells us the mass and it tells us the volume of this part, 1327.45 litres. And I just update it, and yeah, that's pretty solid. Hasn't updated. And now if we go out to our subtract command here and we unsuppress it, and now I can go back up here to properties, and I'm just going to click update, and now we see the mass and the volume have both updated. So now it's changed to 1295.2 litres. So that's just taking away the volume of the plastic of our outer tank shell. Okay, so maybe we could take this a little bit further now actually. So if we wanted to work out the volume of the liquid in our tank, depending on the height of the tank, we could go to home, create a plane here, and I'm going to make a sketch on that plane and a rectangle. Alright, so the size of the rectangle I'm not too concerned about. The main thing is that it is larger than our tank. Project a sketch, create its construction, and just choose these two rectangles and tick this box. So there we've done that now. So I'm going to close project to sketch, and now we just want to constrain this rectangle so that it's always bigger than our tank. So just put a couple of dimensions on that, and we don't really care too much about how much bigger, just as long as it's bigger. So I'm going to just make that 1000 millimeters and another 1000 millimeters, and I'm not sure here. I hope 1000 is enough. It is, and we go 1000. Oh, mistake. So we can go another smart dimension here from this rectangle to here, and we can make that 1000 millimeters as well. Okay, so there are our dimensions, and I'm just going to exit out of that sketch and click finish and click cancel. So now I'm going to create an extrude, and we're going to say create from, select from sketch. We can choose this sketch here, tick this box, and now we have our cut. So for the cut, we can choose finite extent. Oh, yeah, finite extent. Oh, actually, our operation is automatic, and you can see as we go down here, it's actually adding material. So I want to explicitly say extrude cut. So now as we go down, we're cutting into our part, and I'm just going to enter some arbitrarily distance there, 72 millimeters, and just click and click finish. If we go now to the tools tab, I can go to the variable table, and we can see our extruded cut 72 millimeters here, and we're able to modify that value from the variable table. So I can go to 500 millimeters and hit enter, and we see our model updating where it's 500 millimeters cut out of this, so we can always know the level of our tank. And we can also create a variable, so we can do the opposite. So let me just change our extruded cut back to, if I change it to 0, if I change the extruded cut to 0 and press enter, we have an issue because Solid Edge doesn't like a 0 cut. We could change it to 1 millimeter and everything is fine. It just cuts 1 millimeter off the top of our model. So if we wanted to go to 0, really, we'd need to actually suppress this cut. All right. So maybe we wanted to measure instead of measuring from the top down, maybe we wanted to measure from the bottom up and work out the volume there. So to do that, we can create a new variable and we can call that variable tank depth. All right. And I can give that a value of 1000 and press enter. And since we've suppressed this, we know that to fill this tank to the very, very top, I can go to home, I can go to inspect, measure normal, and from the bottom to the top here is 1076 millimeters. So we can work out our extruded cut based on our tank depth. So we know we can say extruded cut, go to the formula here, double click, press equals, and I'm going to say 1076 millimeters. That's our full tank. And I'm going to say minus tank depth. And I click on this variable name here. It creates the variable for me and I press enter. And now we see our extruded cut has been updated to 76 millimeters. So I'm just going to resize this window and go in here and take a look. And actually nothing has happened because I have suppressed our cutout. So let me just click on the cutout and unsuppress it. And now our cut has jumped down and we see our part. And I can go back to properties and take a look in here at the physical properties. Our volume is 1295.2. If I click update, it's 1293. Okay. And if we go back over here to our variable table, we can change the tank depth. Units here are wrong, actually, just noticed. Doesn't affect anything, but that should be millimeters. I'm going to change the tank depth from 1000 to 500 millimeters and press enter. And we can see here our extruded cut has updated to 576 millimeters using that formula. And we can see the cut of our part. And we can also take a look at the physical properties here. And we had 1293 liters. I'm just going to click update here. And we now have 697, almost 698 liters. So our part here will update as we change the depth of our tank. And we can take a look at our assembly and maybe look at our reference planes and again go to PMI section by plane. And I'll just look at it from the other side. You can see our tank here with 500 millimeters of water in it. In the select parts step, we can go from cut all parts to cut only selected parts. And I could just choose to select this part to cut and tick this box and click finish. And now we can see the actual liquid in the tank showing up the full volume and then just a section through the actual tank itself. And you can see there the distance between, if I go to inspect, measure normal, 3D measure normal distance, and we could choose from the bottom face of the tank itself to the face of the water here is 4 millimeters, the thickness that we gave the tank. All right. Okay, Joey, hopefully you got something out of that. Talk to you in the next one.